Hi Cancer, how are you? Good to see you. You know, I was just doing some spiritual work and it has really got me in the mood to do your Cancer October reading, and so let's get it underway, shall we? First of all though, I'm going to call upon some spiritual energy, which I have done for a long time now. Just give me a second. I feel like goosebumps going through me. Let's see what there is in store for you, shall we, this month? What's the first card? The Three of Wands. Justice. I'll get you to come and sit down next to me, and I'll bring a light over and shine it down onto the card so that you can appreciate the good artwork while I do the reading for you. There's the Knight of Cups. Hello, Knight of Cups. What do you have to say to my friend today? What's in the bottom? The Seven of Wands. And here is the King of Coins. Always a welcome appearance. Come on round, sit down next to me, and I'll do the reading for you. All right, Cancer, here we go. Let me just reach behind me and get my pen, because I think I might use it to point out a couple of things in these cards. Let's have a look at this one first, hey? This is the first that you drew. This is the Three of Wands, and let's have a look at it. The Three of Wands. I like the number 3. Numerologically, it's about extension, it's about development, it's about gestation, it's about growth. And this Three of Wands imagery here on this card is, well, you've got like a 1, 2, 3 mountaineers climbing up like a tree. And, well, in a nutshell, this represents the Kabbalistic tree of life, as one starts below and then comes up. But putting that aside just for the moment, what can I say that is of more immediate benefit to you? And it is this. I call this card the Lord of Established Strength. It is the Sun in the second decan of Aries, that 31st of March to the 9th of April sort of a time frame. In ordinary look, this is great, because in ordinary astrology, the Sun is also exalted in Aries, so its power is even greater than it ordinarily is. And so this placement, this astrological placement, is very favorable. Now, Aries enjoys a challenge, and Aries suns are happiest when their lives are moving forward and active, and this is what's going to be the case for you, I think, during this month. I think what we can say here is this, that you really now have the direction to move forward. I think you've been thinking about things, about what you should do, where you should go, and you've now formed that plan. This 3 has gestated it, and it's now going to give birth to your direction to move ahead in. And also how you might be your best service to the world. I think it is, though, also talking to you to look both inside and outside with integrity, honesty, and no compromise. It might also say to look, I think, actually I'm getting the feeling here that you might also want to look for the integrity of somebody else. And that somebody else might be an Aries, I'm thinking. It's saying to me, I think, that it is important for you to operate from a place of integrity before making a decision at the moment, and to have clarity of mind and of heart before taking action to bring about the best results, so that unless you do have that clarity, then don't act. But if you do have clarity, then act now, because this is the time to be moving ahead. You've got the cosmos energy at your back. Let's have a look at this card here now, which is the Seven of... First thing I'll say about this Seven of Wands is that I think the influence of it is being diluted somewhat. The reason why I say that here is because there is a Knight of Cups sitting in this energy that is drifting down, and it's drifting down almost into this line. Now, the cups get on fine with this suit of earth, but what they don't get on with is they don't get on with this suit of fire. Fire and water don't mix, of course, so you have the situation where the energy of the water is subduing the energy of this card. So the things that I say here that come up to it, they're going to be muted in respect of the card. But in any event, let's have a look at it, the Seven of Wands. Now, the first thing I'll talk about is the number 7. I love the number 7, not just because of its traditional lucky meaning. There is a reason why that luck is there, because 7 is all about moving forward. It's about progress. It's about extension as well. It's about overcoming hurdles. It's about overcoming actions. It's about pushing into areas and pushing forward into relationship to create relationship. And it is successful, and it is actually a number which, if I were to sum it up mystically, would be associated with the term of victory, I think. But this Seven of Wands, let's have a quick look at it. Well, the Seven of Wands is depicted by these 7 clubs sitting here, which act as a podium from which this speaker, almost like you get in public parks. I mean, in Hyde Park in London, there are speakers who just start talking to, get a soapbox up and talk to people on Sunday afternoons. Here is somebody who is wagging his finger at the crowd. And now, isn't this interesting here? Look at this. His fingers are, and you'll be able to see it, his fingers are in the sign of victory. And wasn't I just talking about victory there as well? There are people listening. There's a man in green who's totally disinterested. There looks like to be some sort of a beggar in rags who's very despondent and despairing. A young, fit man looking attentively at what he has to say. And quite a well-dressed woman here, and a fellow who's accepting a gold coin from her. Well, that's all very interesting, but what does it have to say to you? And I think it has to say this, that I'm looking at Mars in the 3rd decan of Leo, 13th to the 22nd of August sort of thing. Now, Mars in the 3rd decan of Leo with Venus also coming into the card here, I think. So we are, in a way, in the suit of Wands, which is the suit of fire. We are a long way away from the Ace. And so the energy of the suit of Wands is starting to become diluted, if you like. That fiery masculine energy of Wands is also being diluted by the feminine energy of Venus, I think. Now, Mars in Leo. Well, Mars really likes Leo, but in this case, being so far down, the harmony doesn't exist. And you might think that it is, as I say, Mars in Leo, you might think that it is your Mars energy only, that fiery energy of Mars, that it's only that type of energy that's keeping you going. I call this card the Lord of Valor, and it is about pushing through obstacles, but in particular, it's about successfully pushing through obstacles. Now, Mars in Leo can indicate a situation where you might be acting with authority and power. But I think in this placement, and as I say, with this Cups card sitting here, you might find that you need to dig deep and use all your resources in what you might think is a difficult situation. And sometimes you might lack focus and start to have some concerns or reticence about how you should be acting in relation to something. I get the feeling also with this that you might feel for a moment, and again this is subdued because of that Cups card that's there, feel as if you're fighting a losing battle, and that it's only your courage that is keeping you going. Maybe you feel you haven't been dealt the best hand here, and I'm looking at these clubs when I get that impression that's coming up here. And even perhaps that things in the background don't seem to be going well. You might feel as if you're on a sinking ship, for example, or that you're fighting a losing battle. Now this could relate to relationship problems, and they could be personal relationships, or they could be relationships at work, or they could be relationships in society, down at the parents and friends or the PDF association. I think that though that there's the possibility that you could feel that you're running out of energy and ideas how to keep sustaining a particular situation, or if it's in relation to work, that maybe you're coming to the end of your tether in relation to something. But look, I would be true to yourself during this period, and that includes standing up for your own truth. Even in the face of immense resistance, trust your power. If this situation arises for you, you must assert yourself at all costs. Now be aware of whatever fears you have that may have prevented you until now from asserting yourself. And I'd have this affirmation in mind, and it is this: I express my own reality openly and honestly. But as I say, with that number 7 in there, it is about overcoming, and you will be successful in overcoming those things. But don't be concerned if there are momentarily things coming through. They're not going to be significant. They're not going to be significant. I'm going to have a look at this card here now, because we were talking about him, were we not? This is the Knight of Cups. Well, what can we say about this Knight of Cups here? The first thing is that esoterically, knights represent air, and cups, of course, represent water. And so we have a court card, a person, an energy, which is the airy part of water. And what you have with the airy part of water is that you can either have something which is quite still, like a pond, or you can have really raging seas, can't you? And you can have everything that's in between. Well, this is the type of character I think that we are looking at here. And the character could be someone who is either a Scorpio or a Libra, is what I'm thinking. I want to have a look now at some of the imagery that's on the card, because it will probably give us some clues as to what it is that he's talking about. Here we have this knight. He's riding on a rather discontented-looking mule over a stony ground. He actually looks like that figure Rasputin. Yeah, he looks pretty similar to Rasputin, who was the advisor to the last Tsarina of Russia, the wife of the last Tsar. Although some people said he was something more than an advisor to her, but we will probably never know, because neither of us are around to confirm the situation. Now what he has is, he has cloaks on him, which are actually reminiscent of the garb worn by the monks of Athos. His boots are sort of kind of flopping around and unwieldy, like he's a sort of a brigand, really, and yet his fastenings here are someone who's talking about wealth. In this cup here, there is the depiction of Cupid with his arrow, his bow strung. With this finger, he is pointing out to you, What do we have to say then about this guy? What have you got to tell us today? What can you say to me, my friend? I think what we have is that, well, the airy part of water, the kind of neutral, as fast as a river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as possible. He is someone who cares intensely for power, for information, and in achieving his own aims. He looks after himself, and everybody else comes second. He's a young man, I think, or a man of subtlety, secret of violence, craft. Could well be an artist or someone with the visual arts or even software. Someone dealing with things to do with art and beauty and creation. Someone who is on the surface quite calm, but that actually masks an intense passion. He has no conscience really, and he inspires fear because people really don't understand him. His ability to detach, and as I say, I'm getting very much the energy of Scorpio and Libra around him. The ability to detach, as Libra is an air sign, and so it can be detached, to detach from the heavy, intense, controlling emotions of Scorpio really shows, I think he really shows poise and control in the emotions, but actually I think his being detached and cool can often be a front for insecurity and fear. I call him the Prince of the Chariot of Waters. Usually the feminine asks the masculine to go deeper into his feelings, to join her in the place where the two meet as one in relationship. But in respect of this guy, he is completely without conscience in the ordinary sense of the word. He's perfectly ruthless. He cares intensely for power and his own aims, and he doesn't feel responsibility for others and can't be relied upon, is really what I'm getting from him. I think he has a lot to offer. He has immense ability, but his main responsibility is to himself. He can be secretive, hiding his deepest desires. Yeah, music, the arts is what I'm getting. And or visual arts, auditory arts, but he's very good at shedding light into other people's lives, as people like this have usually done it all. At worst, though, I think he can be cruel, selfish, and reckless. So just be aware of him. This is coming up, I think, as someone that's liable to... Now, it could be somebody who's other than those two signs, but they're really coming through to me. I think he can also, I think, for you, represent a period of rest and healing that is necessary, usually after a period of some sort of a trauma in your life, and it allows you to mend before you go back into a more productive phase. But if you don't use that time wisely, then you're going to have to repeat the cycle. In the Prince of Cups, this guy here, this Knight of Cups, it comes about when he's exhausted from periods of passion and well, sometimes what it can also mean, though, is that I think that, and I'm getting this feeling from it here, is that it can also represent, I think, the potential for some balance and harmony. There's an intensity. There's an intensity here which resonates with that Scorpio energy, which I'm getting from the card. And it adds an emotional depth to sexual relationships, giving it intensity. Maybe not just fulfillment, but getting the most out of life by living it to the full, and using the energy of Scorpio there. Let's have a look at this card, which is the Justice card. Now, she is a great-looking card, isn't she? Let's say something about her. The first thing I'll say about it is that the number 8 is one that I love, because it refers to balance, and it refers to power, and it often very much refers to decision, I think, and decisions well made, and decisions which are going to carry you forward. Now, looking at the card itself, here we have the lady, Justice Lady. Well, she's wearing a red and blue dress, which has got a gold lining to it. She's got a gold necklace on by the look of it. The dress is coming up. It's in the form of an anchor. She looks very sophisticated, doesn't she? Well, as Justice, she needs to have poise and intelligence in order to bring about the work that she does for you. So I would expect that to be the case. She has a sword in her right hand, and in her left hand she holds the scales here. So I'm getting Venus ruling Libra. Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted in the card. And in the back, the back of the throne, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons by the looks of it. There is a horse here being ridden by an Amazon, those warrior women of ancient times, 2 suns shining down. And her crown here, it actually looks like the temple of Diana of Ephesus in the ancient times. I'm emboldened in saying that because if you can see up here, this side of the throne that she sits on, they're all breasts. And Diana of Ephesus was the goddess in ancient times of fertility, and was often depicted with multiple breasts. So what can we say about her? Well, Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted. Libra emphasizes that the energy of this card for you is all about equilibrium, karmic cause and effect, and about bringing a situation into balance. The daughter of the Lords of Truth, the ruler of balance, that's what I call her. I think that this card is really about, for you this month, is about self-control. It's about justice, balance, adjustment, adjusting to things, moving to things. Something about suspension of action, pending decisions. It's about objectivity and standing back. Can relate to trials, lawsuits, marriages, contracts. I think what we find here for you is very much, I'm just getting this thought that's coming through from me, that even if I wander from you, you are there. Your pleasure ever leads me into the depths of you. Your chastening hand is the caress of reclaiming me. I walk through the alley of hell in the byways of my deeds, and the stifling heat is the clasp of your embrace, of the holding me tight unto you. Yeah. This is about cutting through all the dross in life. It can represent, I think, a period of time when you will be seen as exercising greater leadership and will be seen by others to be a good leader. I think it's a good time to write, be that a journal or something else. It could be a good time also to start a diet or a gym program, even get out walking. Certainly a time to get the credit card statements balanced. I think I'd have this affirmation in mind during this period, and it is, I am balanced and centered. I honor my word. I value being truthful in difficult situations. The abundance and beauty of nature is a reflection of my own nature. I am at rest in my own center. I think it's also about discovering and then following your true path and what gives you your life the most meaning, getting a clear vision of possibilities and the choices ahead of you and applying your insights so far to live a balanced life, almost taking stock of your life to see what is useful and what should be let go, and thinking clearly about life ahead and being aware that all actions have consequences. Right, well, that takes us finally to this card here, which is the King of Coins. Now, the King of Coins. Well, esoterically, kings are fire and coins in the suit of earth. So he is the fiery part of earth. Now, that's not really a problem. I call this guy the Lord of the Wild and Fertile Land. What can we say about him? Well, let's have a quick look to see what his imagery is. He's sitting on a throne. He's holding in his left hand here a compass, not one for telling which is north, but one of those things that's used in geometry. So this is talking about science and the intellect. In his right hand, he's holding... Well, he has on his lap here a red satchel, I suppose, full of gold. Here in his right hand is a phoenix bird, which is the symbol of resurrection, of rejuvenation, of reintegration. There are some baskets in front of him, a basket of diamonds, a basket of gold rings, one of crowns, one of quartz crystals, one of pearls, one of gold coins, and one of gold bars. And in the background, very well-tended fields. Very well-tended fields, showing a kingdom that's in good state, and good repair, and in good state. Now, what am I getting here? I'm getting Leo. I'm getting Virgo around it. Why am I getting Virgo? Well, the first two decans of Virgo, that is at 0 to 10 degrees and 10 degrees to 30. You know, don't you, that each decan for each sign has 30 degrees in it, which is split up into 3. Well, the first decan, 0 to 10, and then the second decan, 10 to 20, they, in Virgo, are ruled by the Sun and Venus, respectively. And the Sun is required for the growth of all these crops and all this agricultural sign there. And the qualities of Venus really only complements that. So there could well be someone who's got something to do with the land, actually someone working on the land or building some connection with land, or land is going to be important to you. Maybe real estate or something is going to be important to you during this period. He is someone, I think, who is patient, a hard worker, actually very clever. And Oh, look, he's exceedingly complex, really. At best, he's romantic and imaginative, but he has like a really overweening ambition, rather. And funnily enough, I think he can sometimes be prone to spend time in idle dreaming. In essence, this is all about invoking the spirits of the earth for a plentiful harvest. So that is what is coming through to you. It's going to be a plentiful harvest that's coming along in your way, I think. I think that his work ethic comes from his persistence against long odds. He persists and he gets things done slowly over time. Kings of fire. Now, all the other kings are, in the other suits are very fast acting. Their fire is very intense. His fire is intense, but it's like the slow burn inside a compost heap. That slow burn that you get that slowly, but for a long time, goes ahead. That's him. Be careful that you have interests outside of work. Don't overextend yourself and use your instinct during this period. Don't over-intellectualize things. Act as he does, using his intuition and his instinct and good work ethics to bring results over time. And you will have great success in coins your material affairs. That's it for you this month. Well, there we are. There it is. The month of October for you. I really hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. I think it's going to be a fantastic month and you've got great things in store for you, so well done. All I can say is this, is that you've been absolutely brilliant. You've been fantastic, as you always are, and really the only thing that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.